Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of Rocket Lab, ticker symbol RKLB. And so I am recording this on Wednesday, June 19th, and the market is closed. But yesterday, Rocket Lab closed at a price of $4.91, being up just over 13% on the day, actually gapping up from the previous day. And so it was requested that I do go over the chart because of this, and so I just wanted to share my perspective here. And following up on last week's video, which I did put out on June 13th, suggesting that we would get a pullback to this uptrend and the 382 with the possibility of us pulling back to the 50% level at $4.20. And on the 17th, so on Monday, we did get a pullback to $4.19.5, wicking down to that 50% level, but then bouncing up. So it does look like that was a kind of last line of support, so pretty good there. But then we did get this gap up and we saw this massive green candle, a big move up. And so, what are my thoughts on this? And so there are a couple things, just taking a step back, looking at the chart. To me, this reminds me of all of the times that I felt like, oh, this is bullish, it's going higher, I'm going to add more. But then weeks later, I look back at the chart and I see, oh, well, that was clearly a double top. And so, I'm a little cautious with this right now. I should say I don't have a position in Rocket Lab. It's one that I wish I did, but I just like making videos on it. And maybe I'd add if there was a pullback, but right now I think it looks a little precarious. And the main reason for that, so while we did get a higher high on Tuesday, we hit a high of $4.99. That just being a penny below $5 a share. So kind of like, a rejection from that key level. Also, while we did get a higher high and we did get a higher close, we did not close above the high of June 12th, which was at a price of $4.94. And so since we could not get a close, we could not hold above that level, it suggests there aren't enough buyers up there to be pushing it to new highs. And so I think that what we might be seeing is a double top. We might be seeing a pullback either, to this downtrend or one of these levels. I suspect lower than the 382 at 438. I feel like this uptrend may be acting as support, but we could, of course, get a wick down to the 382. And if we do go lower than that, though, I think that would suggest a breakdown of this uptrend that we have been seeing, and that price could be pulling back notably. But, some things that stand out here, in this time frame that are potentially bullish. We did see a pretty big surge in volume, so looking good there. When we saw this attempt previously on the 12th, we didn't get that much volume backing that move. We did see a pullback, and so I think that this could definitely continue into the end of the week. We've just got 2 trading days left for it. And so I think those days are going to be pretty key. Do we get closes above 494 or 499? Really, are we getting any closes in the $5 range? That would suggest a continuation to me. In last week's video, I also did point out that since we've seen higher highs in the price, we have seen lower highs in the RSI, which is bearish divergence. However, the RSI does look like it is getting a little bit higher than last week, coinciding with a higher high in the price. So that is negating that bearish divergence. However, we are still not above the RSI when we hit the peaks here. That RSI was at 71.19, whereas it's currently at 66.08. So I definitely think that price and RSI could be pushing higher, but I think that we need to be seeing closes above 494 and 499, like I said. So I would look for that on Thursday and Friday. But one thing, before I close the video, one thing that was pointed out to me on X, Robert pointed this out, is that in the past, we have seen a similar setup where we saw a gap up and a close on December 22nd, lower than this prior high, which was hit on December 14th. And that to me, looked like same kind of setup. We got a higher high, but we didn't get a close higher than that previous high, suggesting that we might be pulling back to fill that gap. And price did go higher here. I'm just going to zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. So price did go higher. There was more upside there. However, it wasn't a ton of upside. And even just looking at the shorter time frame, we did a full retracement. More than that, we pulled back to lower than the lows here. So I do think that if we do continue to see an upside move, it might be short-lived. And one way we can get an idea of what kind of upside move we might be seeing is if we take an approximate retracement here, we can see that the price went up to a high of 1614, hit on December 28th, and that was just below the 1618 extension from this retracement at a price of 1619, right around there. So, I think that's kind of a good approximation of where price could be going, that 1618. But then again, following that, really just a couple months later, we saw a more than full retracement. So be cautious of it. And so if I do move back over to where the chart currently is, I do the exact same kind of retracement. Again, just being approximate, coming from that high down to the low over here, we can get an approximation of where price might be going, and that would be right around $5.40, marked here by the 1618 at $5.38.8. So maybe we do go up that high, but if we do, it's quite possible price could fade from there and retrace to, like I said, this uptrend, which might find price around $4.50. However, we do have this gap here, and filling that gap would be bringing price down to $4.34, coinciding with this low that we hit here on December 21st, just before that prior gap up that I just showed. So, I find that to be pretty interesting. And I should note that the low was actually $4.34. I drew that retracement approximately, and that does coincide with the gap fill over here. So I find that just fascinating how sometimes things in the chart really just come together. And so I would look for price going up to 540 if it's looking weak up there, or we're not getting closes above $5 a share this week. I think that we should be seeing a pullback to fill that gap and then maybe reevaluate to see if we can reclaim this uptrend, or if we're going to be retracing lower, perhaps to the golden pocket here, which is right around $4 a share. But, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching, and thanks for the request. Take care, you guys.